All right. On today's podcast, I welcome on a special guest. He is the head coach of Chariho's boys high school basketball team. He is Coach Corey Downey. Coach, how are you today?
Great. How you doing, Jeff? Thanks for having me on. Really
Oh,
excited for today.
awesome. Thanks, Coach. I'm excited to have you on, and thank you for making time out of your day and making this happen. Coach, I
Yeah,
want to.
I mean, I can't
Oh,
wait to share some stories as well as
oh
we go
yeah,
forward with
I
this.
I know we're talking off of some airs. I'm sure you have some good stories. Maybe some good stories about some past guests we might have had on too.
Oh, I can't wait.
But Coach, I want to start I ask everyone this. It's been like a crazy time of the year. How are you doing during like the COVID times with everything that's going on?
Yeah, I've been able to really, since last March, find a way to enjoy the simpler things in life. Um, go on hikes, take walks on the beach, um, uh, doing more board games. I have three daughters at home.
Oh wow.
Playing board games with them, creating different ways of making food, making pizzas, cupcakes. Um, but things have slowed down, and the ability for us to not be able to go out and have the hustle and bustle of going to gym, bringing them gymnastics, bringing them to soccer, doing a basketball workout. Me being obsessed with sports, always having something on the television to watch, being distracted by it. Um, this time really gave me the ability to think about the important things that I have in my life, which is my family and my friends, and be able to appreciate that and appreciate a lot of the quality things that I have in my life. So, um, not being able to do a lot of the things I'd like to do is unfortunate, but I was able to get some really great things out of this pandemic. Um, the other cool part is that I was able to, do a lot more with basketball. Oddly enough, where Jim Saris was running these 5-star clinics with different coaches that throughout the country that are running virtual sessions. And actually, one of your past guests, Henry Coleman, allowed me to kind of join these sessions. And one of them, just to kind of give you, who they were getting, Pete Gillen was on. He was going over the zone offense, and they're on every Tuesday from April to June, I think.
Wow.
So it was about an hour and a half, and there were some really great guests, and I was able to get a lot of really cool things from them as well. So um, you have to try to get the positive out of the negative, and I was fortunate enough for me to be able to do that, and I think it's allowed me to live life a little bit differently as well, to appreciate those little things and maybe not even be bothered by a lot of petty things that would bother me in the past.
That's great. I think it's crazy. Like I feel like the world slowed down when all this happened. So you take time to take different on hobbies. And that's really cool that you got a different perspective on things and started spending time with family, doing different things, going to the beach, hiking, and getting more involved with basketball, which is obviously a passion of yours, and still being able to keep doing that and learning more from all those coaches. That's really cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't try the food that I was making though, the cupcakes and the pizza. That was I didn't improve my cooking skills, so that's one thing I'm gonna let someone else do for that.
Hey, baking's a tough thing. I can't bake to save my life.
Yeah,
It's a chemistry, some people say, but
exactly. I
yeah,
don't get that chemistry.
yeah, I don't either. I barely passed chemistry in high school, but
I won't talk about my grades for that. Sorry.
yeah. But coach, I want to start off like, how did you get into basketball? Like, did you play? Like, what was it like growing up for you with basketball?
Um, I love sports from the get go. Always playing it with my father, my friends. Um, and I actually went to LaSalle for my first year and a half. And the first year at LaSalle, I tried out for the basketball team and didn't make it. And it definitely affected me, but it made me work a little bit harder. And I was able to go back to Chariho and play for my last 3 years, and really enjoyed my time at Chariho. Enjoyed playing basketball. Uh, my first coaching experience was actually JV girls soccer at South Kingstown. I was 22, student teaching in Westerly, and someone asked me if I wanted to fill in. And I knew soccer. I played soccer. I played baseball too. But I wasn't really sure about if I really wanted to get involved in coaching. And it was kind of like a last minute thing. They said, "Can you please do?" And I said, "Sure." And by the time that year ended, I was hooked, just coaching in general. I love the ability to watch watch players deal with adversity and overcome them. I love having a common goal and being able to try to achieve that common goal as a group, even when things sometimes are difficult. Uh, I then went to started teaching in Barrington, and I coached a JV girls soccer team there. Then I got an opportunity to do freshman girls basketball, which was just a great experience. My first year coaching, we actually won the freshman state championship. We were
Oh wow.
down by 20 with 13, 14 minutes left in the second half, and came back to win at the end. It was pretty incredible.
That's
Um,
crazy. That's so cool.
oh, it was phenomenal. Yeah, I still have that trophy. I didn't give Barrington that little thing either. I don't. Hopefully, no one from Barrington sees this.
We'll cut that. We'll cut
Not for you,
that.
but for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and then I got the opportunity to coach JV boys basketball at Barrington. I think the two people that at the Barrington positions that helped me, Steve Lenz, the girls basketball coach there, and Pat Sullivan's the boys basketball coach there. I was able to work under both of them, and they showed me how to run a program. They showed me how to run a practice the right way. They showed me how to make adjustments during game situations and scouting. They showed me how to do it the right way, to run a program the right way, to run a week the right way, a season the right way. And they did it with humility and respect. And 10 years ago when Mike Shields told me the job was open in Chariho, I couldn't have been more excited. And the one thing I'll always remember, I tell the guys this now, is I was in the Barrington locker room. We had just played Chariho. Barrington beat them by 30. And I heard in the locker room the Chariho players saying, we suck and we're not good and we're at Chariho and that's why we're not good. And I said to myself, I'd love to go back at some point in my career to coach at my alma mater. And crazy enough, a year later, I was able to do that. So it was a journey to get there. It wasn't always easy. I didn't get every single job that was offered to me or that I applied for.
Mhm.
But I couldn't have asked for a better place to be.
That's awesome. And what's it like to come back to your alma mater? What's that like? What's that like when you hear you got the job and you first step on the court to start coaching again and actually start to develop your own program and culture there?
It was an amazing feeling. It really was. It was a place that I've loved. I still live in the area. I send my kids there. I think it's a place that shares the same values that I do in terms of family and community and sticking together and supporting each other in every way possible. Um, and for me to be able to be a part of that is something that I'll always cherish in my life as I go forward because it's just a great place to be. And I never thought I would have that opportunity. Ever since I, took the teaching job at Barrington, I thought my Chariho days were over in a lot of ways. But I'm able to go back every day. I love the Friday night games. I love seeing people that have been there forever. And winning or losing, they come and support me or show me support, at least to my face, right?
Yeah.
No, they do. But it's just a really special place with a lot of support from administration and alumni. I just love getting texts from my friends saying, I can't believe you're back. And almost feel like I never left, but really special place.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And that sounds like you're so passionate and so happy to be back there. I'm old high school. I can't even say that word sometimes. But just use the old high school word. I'm surprised I passed English. But so it's cool. That's really cool that you're back there and everything. What's it like when you first take over that program? What's that experience like when you are coaching these young men that, might have a different coach at a different time? What's it like to get them to buy into that program?
Um, my goal when I first started was to make sure all became better men, and I felt that if I did that, that the program would take off. They just needed they needed to learn how to do two things. They needed to learn how to deal with adversity, which the first game I ever coached, we won. The second game I coached, we lost by like 30. And I remember going into the locker, it was a non-league game.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the locker room and they were fighting with each other. And I said, this is why they didn't have a lot of success the previous couple of years.
Yeah.
And it was like that for a couple of years because they just needed to learn how to deal with adversity the right way And there were games where we'd be in it against really competitive teams, and then something would happen and the other team would go on a 20-0 run because we just couldn't deal with any sort of adversity. And I just kept trying to teach them life lessons to deal with anything that's happening negative on the court, off the court, and be able to handle it with some sort of a composure. And the second thing they needed to do is needed to learn how to win. And I needed to find a way to teach them the right way to learn how to win. And, our fourth year, we started to win more games. We started to win closer games. And that's really what started turning the program around. But none of this this would not have happened without that first year group who came off a 1-win season the previous year to come back and play as hard as they did. Guys like Kyle Driscoll and Nick Sherenzia and Kyle Eva, guys who were seniors, they had a new guy coming in. And I'm not easy. I'm not easy at all. Like, I'm tough on them. But they bought in right away, regardless of how difficult it might have been, because they knew they wanted that. And they just rose to the challenge. And all the success, I believe, comes down to them. The other thing, I know I'm talking, I love talking.
No, you're great. It's totally fine.
The other person I would not have been able to do this without is Dean Felicetti, which I know you had on a couple weeks ago. He taught me how to build relationships with the kids. I think I came in a little bit and focused a lot on just basketball, and he taught me how to connect with the players. And the more I connected with them, the more they bought in, the more they wanted to work even harder than they were doing. And he taught me to almost not focus on basketball as much at times, and it allowed me to breathe. I'll never forget. It was about 2 or 3 years into us coaching together, and I was at halftime, and we were losing to Tiverton by like 6, and I just lost my mind. I said, "I am a horrible coach. Yeah. I ruined the program," and he just calm me down and just allowed me to go in and have a solid halftime speech. But he taught me a lot of things about myself that I don't think I had, but he really taught me how to build relationships, and that really took the program forward as well.
That's really cool. And what's it like? Because I know Coach Felicetti was a big aspect too of like having that youth basketball in Chariho and like starting that. Like, what's it like to work with the youth associations and get that going in as well? Like, helping like build those relationships down, starting at a younger age and like developing those fundamentals as well.
Yeah, it's really important. There's so many things these kids can do, not basketball related. And if you don't get them hooked, they'll go to something else. Yeah. And I've noticed that for the past couple of years that, if they don't find immediate success in basketball, they go to something else. If they don't have the opportunity to play at 6th, 7th grade, 5th grade, even 4th grade, then they'll go do something else. And we need to continue to work on that. The funny part is that right now, Mike Gleason, who's a coach at Westerly, his son's in 6th grade, and he's done a ton with the younger kids right now, the 4th graders, the 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th, 8th. He's doing a ton of workouts with them. And I just love that. I always pick on him once in a while. I'm like, do you know you're helping my program, not yours right now. but he just loves basketball, and he'll do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have that pipeline just for me to even go down there and just say hello to the kids. I think that's a big deal for me to be able to do those things. And I try to go to middle school games, and I'm actually doing a workout in a couple of days with some of the younger kids. It's so important to have that ability to have other people help out, because I obviously can't do my family and then coach basketball during the winter and be able to do all of those things. So to have those other people, whether it be Dean, 15 years ago, and now, Coach Gleason helping out a little bit. There's so many people that are connected, and they're important to making the program where it is.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And that's great that you have all those like coaches, and it's funny that Coach Gleason of Wesley is helping out you guys, but it's just great. I mean, it just shows his passion as well for basketball, but it's nice that you have that and you go into the middle school games. And I think, it catches a lot of kids' eyes when they see the high school coach at the middle school game, because I think some of them want to play harder. just from aspects of hearing it from a, having a middle schooler for a nephew. So just knowing like what he sees and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. We do one game a year where we bring the whole team. I surprise them and I give them a day off and we go watch the middle school play and I make them cheer and make noise. And they started doing, it was last year or 2 years ago, they started doing a lot of the things that Duke would do at their games. They were doing like bounce, bounce, pass, pass.
Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing. And the middle school team played harder than they ever had because they look up to those kids. They come to their games in the winter on a Friday night and see these guys playing on the floor in a high school basketball game. And that's their ultimate goal for a lot of those guys playing at the middle school level. See them come down and do that is just a really special thing. And that goes back to the community that I was talking about in terms of Chariho. It doesn't end regardless of the winning or losing or, which family is part of it. We always continue to strive to be a community that works together.
That's great. And that's really cool. And that's amazing that you have that, and that Chariho is such like a close knit community, and they love their high school sports, and you guys all support each other. I think that's amazing. I'm gonna have to come to a game. Hopefully I can come to a game this year, but I have to come to a game and witness this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just don't come to the Wesley game. We haven't done so well against them. So
No, I'll come to your place. So I'll come to
okay, good.
Not too far of a ride. I'm not your typical Rhode Islander. I'll drive anywhere. So I want to also know, Coach, too, you won the state championship against Burrowville in like probably the craziest like fashion game. It's all over the news. Like what's that feeling of winning that state championship, and what was it like going on that run into that final game?
Well, it was a surreal experience. It really was. Again, when you look back to where we came from, like I said, the year before they won one game. Then we won 5, then 2, and my third year back to 5. So it was a culmination of so many things and so many emotions. And the run that we went on for those 3 games, first game against Tollgate, we were down 3 with 50 seconds to go. Tom Longaluca and 1, sent it to overtime, win in overtime. Semifinal against Pilgrim, tie game. They were playing with Weeks, who's now playing at UMass. Backdoor cut by Nate Morin. Layup with 2 seconds to go, win by 2. Coach Cobb was doing the game on the radio that day.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Burrowville game. I think that people forget how good the last 4 minutes was of that basketball game. Burrowville hit shot after shot, played great defense. We hit shot after shot, played solid defense. There were a limited amount of mistakes by both teams. It was such a solid basketball game to watch. I think a lot of that is forgotten with the last play of the game, but it was just a really solid basketball game that, obviously both teams had a chance to win at the end. But the amount of media attention after the game was just incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't get over it. I mean, at one point we were lined up to do Fox and Friends in the morning in New York.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we had people from China calling. They want to talk to us. I had people reaching out to me, people I hadn't talked to in 20 years, reaching out to me because they saw it somewhere in some social media outlet. It was just an incredible moment by so many different players. I mean, Nate Morin calling a timeout with 1 second left, 17-year-old kid, just an amazing play.
Yeah.
Jake Beauregard being able to make that pass from midcourt, spot on. We practiced 2 days later. Everyone tried to do that pass. It wasn't even close at any point. And then Tom Longaluca, everyone thinks that's an easy layup, catches the ball with in the air and knows he has to finish for us to win. Just a complete team victory. And I said it at the end, this team just never quit at any point. Even when the game looked like it was over, they just didn't quit and they didn't stop thinking that they had a chance to win. And that was the mindset of that team. It was the mindset of myself, Coach Felicetti, Coach Beauregard, and all the players that were out there, whether they were winning and losing and that, or playing or not playing. And I think that was the other great part about that team. I think there were 7 seniors on that team, and some of those seniors didn't play. And if you looked at the bench, you would have no idea the way they were into those games, not just in the championship game, but also the regular season games. And you have to give those kids a ton of credit too. And I think we tend to not think enough about what a team's all about. We just worry about our own and our own minutes and am I starting? Am I playing? And that team didn't do that. That team just loved being together, loved every moment, loved every practice. I remember losing this open tournament game, and it was this one of the saddest moments I've had in coaching because not because we lost, because it was over.
Yeah.
And that group knew they were done. They weren't going to be playing basketball, again with a Chariho uniform on, and they deserved that championship with the amount of effort and time they put into it. With the first couple of years of not really winning, but it was a really special group on so many different levels.
That's really cool. And now I gotta ask, and everyone heard this one from Coach Facility. Like when I asked him if he got the rings, where'd you go with the jacket?
I always wanted a jacket.
Yeah.
And all these other players in the team, if they wanted a ring, I apologize, but we're not getting a ring. So this happened in 2016, mind you. Okay.
Yeah.
It's now 2020, as we all know. We were together about a month ago, and he's asking me if he could buy rings. He doesn't give up, which is awesome about him.
Yeah.
But he just didn't. I'm sure he's going to buy him at some point. I told him to wait for the 25-year anniversary, but he's relentless with it. The jackets are. I should bring the jacket down. It's a beautiful jacket. They would wear the jacket more. He's got to stop. Dean, if you're listening at some point, stop asking about the rings.
I think that might have been partially my fault because about a month ago we talked about this, and then he was like, "No, I wanted the rings," and then he probably brought it back up to you.
It's such a sore subject with him. This is going to bring it back up all again too. That's the worst part.
He's going to
ask me immediately after this comes out.
My apologies. My apologies.
It's okay. Yeah, seriously.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And what's it like, coming back that next season and like what's like, after winning that championship, like what's it like just even coming back that season, even have tryouts, like all these kids got to be hyped up, like to come play Chariho basketball.
The cool part is we actually went up a division to Division 2.
Yeah.
So we had a new challenge. We played different teams, and we're able to play at that next level. And with the success that was built from the previous year, we were able to play in Division 2 and go 13-5 that year.
Wow.
And it was a great experience for us in Division 3, and obviously that prepared us for the next level. We won our first round game that year, and we're able to move on to the next round and lost in the next round. But for us to be able to take that next, I think it was easy for us to be able to get right into it because it's a different group of guys. I think high school and college and the NBA are very different. It's a different group of guys ready for a different challenge, ready for more minutes that they didn't get the previous year. But I think it was easy for me to get them to be motivated because it was a different division. And they knew that from the get-go. Like I told them 2 weeks later when we did exit interviews, the guys are going back. We're going to Division 2 next year.
Yeah.
And there was no question about it. So it was really easy for me to motivate them because they knew they had to work really hard to be successful because they wanted to keep it rolling. They didn't want to take a step back.
That's so cool. And that's great. Like they had that motivation. You're coming into a higher division. Like, is it like, what's the difference of making that jump to Division 2? Is it like higher speed or just playing different teams? What's that jump like for those kids?
I think the biggest difference in both divisions from Division 3 to 2 is the depth in D2.
Yeah.
There's some teams that could go 8, 9, 10 deep, and that can hurt you when you only have 5, 6 guys that are consistently playing. I think that's the biggest difference in between the two divisions. I mean, there are 3, 4 teams in Division 3 that are just as good as Division 2 teams. I think this past year there might have been at least 4 teams in D3 that could have competed at a high level in D2. So I think D3 sometimes gets a has a bad reputation in terms of talent. That's not true at all. There's some really talented teams, and there's some really, really good coaches at that level. And I just think the biggest difference is the depth between the two divisions.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's crazy too. I think Rhode Island has so much talent, like basketball wise, in there. It's crazy for just a small state how much like of great coaches that we have, and as well as like how much there's basketball talent and like how much great basketball talent is in this school that like in this state. It's wild.
It's incredible, and we've lost a good amount of players to prep school to get that extra year of preparing to go to the next level. I can't think of the top of my head how many guys are playing D1 right now. I can't. Only one I can think of is Weeks
Yeah,
at UMass, and they have another one at Pilgrim, his brother at Pilgrim, who's getting Division One attention,
yeah,
and that's in D2. I mean, D2 in Rhode Island. How many times do you have a D1 player that or a chance to play D1 in college? I mean, that goes to show you the depth of the talent in our state. There's some really solid players in our state that also get overlooked because we're a small state. I feel
yeah.
like if some of these guys played somewhere else, they might get more looks. But the basketball is so competitive, and I give a lot of coaches in the state the credit to building up their programs and putting their time in the off season, which a lot of them do. It's become a 12-month job, no question about it. If you don't put 12 months in, your program's going to be behind and your team's going to be behind because everyone else is doing that extra thing. So I really believe that coaches have a huge part of why our basketball is so competitive in this state.
It's so cool to see, and it's like awesome to see like all these kids like coming up, and I see more kids play college and getting a lot of recognition. But it's crazy how talented such a small state is, and it'd be cool to see some of them play like in a bigger state and see how well like they would do in that situation. I think they would be very successful, but it's just very
Absolutely.
it's just wild this for such a small state how much talent's coming out of here. Um, now I gotta ask, what was it like being beating Coach Felicetti at the buzzer? I'm proud.
Oh, yeah. I mean that coaching against him for the past, I think it was 4 years, has been tough because the players on my team have known Coach Felicetti not only for coaching them at the high school, but also the amount of work he did with the younger students, the younger players when they were in fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, that they all know him. And every time he played him, my team was so pumped up to play them. So this last year, he put this crazy defense on us. I had no idea what was happening. I looked at my assistant coaches. I'm like, you guys need to help me. I don't know what this defense is. It's looks like a triangle too. I'm not sure if it. I mean, Dean and I laugh about this all the time. It wasn't the thing of beauty of the game. I think the score was like 18-13 at the half. No one could hit a shot. Guys are wide open, not making shots. Both teams are playing really hard. But the offense, we're not going to send this game to an offensive clinic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
But the big crazy part about it, as you know, is that Dean's kid made the last basket of the game, his only basket of the game,
yeah,
and still talks about it to this day. So that's going to be talked about Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4 years from now, 10 years from now. Nathaniel is just very similar to his father.
yeah.
So
I got
that's gonna keep rolling for a long, long time. But I don't like coaching against him. It just I just it's not fun like at all for me. Um, but so hopefully that can change as he goes to a different division.
That's awesome. You guys still have a great relationship, and guys can coach against each other and still text each other after a game and be friendly and hang out and stuff like that. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
And we make each other feel after a bad game, we make each other feel better too. So
that's
that's the other good part, the support system that we give each other.
that's really cool. And what was it like playing? Should I ask this? What was it like playing coaching a talented player like Levi King?
Oh, he's so good. He and the transformation he made from his freshman year to senior year was so fun to watch. I think that's a lot of times how high school career should happen. It didn't come easy for him, and I knew his junior year that his senior year was going to be really special. And then we had summer league the year before his senior year, and he was just unstoppable. I mean, he could shoot the three, he gets to the basket, he can finish. His moves around the basket are just unbelievable to watch. He gets off the ground. He obviously can dunk. But the thing that people didn't see, which I look for, obviously, his defense got so much better, and his ability to help and his ability to be a great teammate is something that the transformation was really nice to see as an individual player. And now he's playing at Woodstock and giving himself an opportunity. His goal is to play D1 college basketball, and with the amount of recognition he gets there and the colleges that come to watch him play, I think he has a shot. But it just watching him progress from freshman year to senior year was really, really fun to watch for me.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, he developed into a great player. It's great to see, like I said, another talented kid come from Rhode Island, be able to go to a prep school and hopefully get some D1 looks that he wants to do and achieve this goal as well.
Absolutely.
But Coach, is there a coach that like you were a fan of, or like that you kind of want to model yourself after, or is it just something that you just have to be yourself in that situation?
I don't think I had one coach that I said to myself, I want to be like him. I think I just chose, I saw what people did, and I kind of picked what I liked and kind of stayed away from things I didn't like. And I've evolved as a coach for sure. People probably don't realize this, but I've calmed down tremendously. Asked the players from my first year to now. I think I'm even more respectful to the referees. So hopefully, referees out there, you also believe in that as well. Hopefully. But I can't really say I have one specific coach that I would say I follow and try to do exactly as they do. I do what's best for me and what's best for the team. You know, each year it's different. Each year it's some kids need to be pushed more and some kids don't need to be pushed more, and some kids need to be, I need to be on top of them, and others I can give them the flexibility to be able to do a couple things in the game that they normally wouldn't allow. So every year is really different. I don't really have one specific model or coach that I follow.
That's really cool, and I think it shows that like you're just how much of a, even though you're a teacher of the game, you're still also like a student of the game. You're growing as well as a coach and as a person as well outside. And to all the referees that are listening, to Coach Downey has calmed down. You don't have to worry.
A little bit.
A little bit, yes. You guys,
not perfect.
Yeah, you guys are safe for this year. But Coach, I'll ask one more question. We'll wrap it up. Is there a sport that you love that's not basketball, like that you pay attention to most? Is it football? Is it soccer? What is it?
Baseball is my next best. I've lost a little bit of interest in it in terms of the speed of the game and the timing of the game.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge Red Sox fan, and the run to 2004 just made me love baseball even more.
Yeah.
And I obviously, this was a tough year for them in terms of following them, and I think it was a good year for us to only have, what was it, 60 games?
Yeah.
But yeah, baseball is my neck. I know there's a ton of action in football, but in terms of like knowledge of the sport and following it, baseball is definitely my favorite sport besides college basketball, which I don't want to talk about PC URI, but I cannot believe PC's not playing URI this year. Anyway, I think I throw that in there.
I know. I had asked Jeff Xavier his thought about that too, and I was like, "What do you think?" Like,
what did you say?
He was kind of shocked, like, about the whole situation. Like, you know, they think he said something like, it's weird how are the two states, they're like only 45 minutes away. They couldn't figure a way to work out something to play against each other. So it's
They're
crazy.
Playing Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, exactly. we got URI's at Mohegan Sun. I know. Are you a PC guy?
Huge URI guy.
Oh, yeah.
Huge URI guy. Yeah, that text thread they were talking about, the coaches thread, it gets heated sometimes.
Does it really?
Oh yeah.
With you guys?
Pretty much. Yeah, URI PC. It's fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I can't believe they're not playing each other. I think that's like the biggest income in the state and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So just something we need. It's good for 2 hours in the winter.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice. But yeah, that's all I have, Coach. This has been great. This has been so much fun. I thank you so much for coming on. I definitely got to get you back on for like the season outlook and everything. Do more things to come in the future for the show and everything like that. But definitely got to have you on for the season outlook. And I think we're gonna do a coaches roundtable pretty soon too. So we might get everyone from your group chat on.
That could be fun.
Yeah. I'll just take a step back.
Yeah, sir. You won't be able to talk. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. But this has been great, Coach. Thank you so much for your time and coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, I love listening to your podcast. There's a couple times I've listened on the way to work to Barrington. You do a great job, and the guests you get on are just amazing. Some of the guests that you're able to have on with you. So I think just sharing sports through stories can be really entertaining for a lot of people. So keep it up any way it can help in terms of spreading the word and being on that round table. I'd love to be on that. But hope to see you at a game this year. Definitely come over and say hello.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely see me in the game. I'll be front row. Maybe I'll try.
Oh boy, criticizing me.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Yeah, I'll be a heckler in the stands. So this has been awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Great, thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.